that we could have more conversations like this in the world, and that it would stop this politicizing rhetoric, this no guns, more guns, left and right, just unhelpful.
Mike Stafford called.
Is this about that church shooting?
What makes a person do something like that?
Eve, you said in your statement that the devil made you do it. You care to elaborate?
Wouldn't be doing myself any favors.
The girl is sane and fit to stand trial. You understand?
I feel bad for you
Why is that?
because hell is real.
That's where you think I'm headed?
That's between you and God.
Hi.
AnnaLynne, oh my gosh, it's been a while since I saw your face.
It's been too long. How are you? Good to see you.
Ups and downs, I feel like the journey of life, at some tough times. My mom was sick, but then we received good news on her health. So that's always, I'm just thankful for that, and everything else is manageable.
Oh, I'm thankful to hear that too. I'm glad you got good news. I know that's every minute that passes where you don't know what's going on is really scary. So.
Excruciating. The worst thing is always the wait, of not knowing, because just you're out of control on things, and it's always the most toughest thing to deal with. But sometimes you just got to go through it, and it straightens you, and ultimately it was a good result. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yes, I am on your behalf.
Thank you. How are you? How have you been? How is everything with you, and life, and in general, health, everything?
I'm feeling really grateful. I'm obviously grateful that SAG let us promote this project.
Yeah.
I've had some wild, crazy life changes myself. I had some friends dealing with some illness stuff, and so I understand that. And but I moved back east. I lived in Los Angeles for 17 years, and I am doing the East Coast again, spending a lot of time in New York and Savannah, and definitely probably will be staying on in New York. And yeah, I'm
So you're in New York? Is that where you moved to?
Right now I'm in a hotel in LA because the premiere. Now I'm
Well, you're doing work stuff, right?
I'm in a hotel. I know. But yeah, I fell in love with East New York, like Sag Harbor, Hamptons area, and just that's where I see my life kind of setting roots and everything.
Well, that's good. I mean, sometimes change is just needed. You know what I mean? No matter what. I totally understand that too. A new perspective, different lifestyle. You've done LA for a long time. It's interesting because I'm like on the verge of a move too. And like, I'm really weighing New York and LA too. So like in the next couple of months, I'm debating on which one, because I have possibilities on both coasts. So I've never done the New York thing. I've done the LA thing. So, I do love the city and energy of New York.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not to be matched. It's a city that
No.
is to be matched.
Well, if I end up out there, I at least know one person who's out there.
One human.
There you go. Wow. Okay. So otherwise, I mean, obviously everything's been kind of on strike, on hold. Have you been able to do some of your personal, I know you always work with charities and travel a lot. Have you done that, or just kind of focusing on the move or whatnot?
Well, actually, I have dreamed of going to Egypt since I was a little girl. Before I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be an archaeologist, mostly because I was in love with Indiana Jones. But
Who wasn't?
I know, right? I kind of still am. I was obsessed with Egypt and Egyptian culture. Is a strong word. I still am. I might be even more so now that I went to Egypt, but I always recommend when people travel, go somewhere for 5 days. Anything longer than that is too long. I went to Egypt for 10 days. It wasn't long enough, and I'm going back in November. This is one of the most incredible countries in the whole wide world. I am just in complete and utter awe of the edifices and the monuments and the attention to detail. And and I've seen a lot. There's no
Mhm.
photo, there's no video, there's nothing that has ever captured Egypt in the way that you experience it when you go. It is not to be, nothing does it justice. You cannot do it justice. It's unbelievable. You have to go at least once in your lifetime. So that
Did
was
you
a
see
really
the
exciting thing.
pyramids, by the way? Did you get to explore that? I'm sure,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I got to rent out the Great Pyramid. I got to be in there for 2 hours with a private
Stop
act.
it.
It was my birthday, so I went all out for my
That's
birthday.
oh my God, that's amazing.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, Jim. You really have to at some point. It needs to be a bucket list moment. It has to be something on your bucket list because it's
No, it's one of the majestic places on this earth. I mean, it's almost like a a museum of sorts. You know what I mean? Like the history and the culture and everything. Yeah, that's definitely one of the spots I would want to see. I've always been fascinated with pyramids too, and just the history of Egypt and reading and watching documentaries on it. It's just fascinating. That it's almost an ancient world in today's modern society, right?
right. Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that other than that, just we were so excited to find out that this film, was going to be able to
Yeah.
be part of the SAG interim agreement. There were several films that were included that were indie projects, and we were very grateful that we were one of them. So just happy to be promoting that right now.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to you. I watching it, I felt, I have seen a lot of your work, obviously. I felt this might have been one of your more challenging roles in a sense. Like I was trying to be like knowing you and all, but like to put yourself in that this character goes through hell on earth, literally. And I was uneasy. I had this weird feeling watching this, feeling uneasy, uncomfortable at times, but also very reflective too on society and like relationships, all sorts of things. There's a lot of messages in this film that this character goes through. I was definitely wondering how you were processing it all, because it's a lot to tap into.
It is a lot. And I really, in my last interview, I was saying it was like a film inside of a film inside of another.
Ah.
It has so many layers to it, maybe even more layers than Eve herself.
Hmm.
But I I I think the most confronting aspect was obviously just playing a character that walks into a church with an AR-15, and
Yep.
that's what my character does. That was the initial AnnaLynne feeling really uncomfortable, and the
Hmm.
confrontational aspect of looking at myself and asking how do I portray this character in the world we live in where this is all too relevant, and how can I do this in a way that is both honest to the character who doesn't think that she's a bad person, and honest to the people who have lost their loved
Hmm.
ones due to mass shootings. And how do if I were sitting in the audience and I was someone who has been in Eve's position with all these horrible things happening, where she's maybe contemplated doing something, maybe not this, but something not great,
Yeah.
or if I'm in the audience and I'm sitting there and I'm someone who's lost a child at a school shooting, or a family member at a theater or a church or an establishment where someone walked in and just started firing shots into the crowd, how do I portray this character on their behalves? How do I honor that? And it was very challenging. I think that I relied mostly on instinct, because I just couldn't. If I over intellectualized it, I was gonna that messes up anything in art, but it was certainly not going to help me with this. So I followed my gut instinct on a lot of things, and I was really dark. I had to go. Thankfully, we filmed in Arizona, so I went up to a very
Hmm.
magical place. I went up to Sedona afterwards and just kind of immersed myself in the vortex. I was like, please, energies, clear me. Um,
Yeah, you need that nature after, especially those prison scenes too. That's a whole different lockup there.
Oh yeah, and there were some interesting moments where, like, on set, there were, I mean, the actual on film, it was really intense, but on set, we did the scene where the poor girl is like Googling not great things. You do not want anyone to find her Google history, that's for sure. And
Hmm.
she decides to, she's not getting the response from one celestial being, so she decides to summon in another energy. And I actually am a Reiki practitioner,
That's
and
right.
We talked about this, and
Mhm.
so I know a little bit about energy, and I'm reading the script, and I was talking to my friend Benjamin because I was like, they want me to say Latin invocations to summon Diablo Incarnatus, and I really don't think that, like, because words
I
have
was wondering that, Anna. I was wondering if you felt like how when you're doing these things. I always, when I see it on film, I'm a little bit superstitious, but it just weirds me out because you don't want to bring up things like the Ouija boards and stuff. When I see it, when you were doing that, I felt a little. That was an uneasy part too, because I know especially how you're involved with spirituality.
Well, yeah. So my friend Ben was like, okay, here's what you have to do. First of all, and then he asked me about the character. He was like, does the character, does she know what she's doing? And I was like,
Mhm.
no, she doesn't. And he's like, okay, that's great. So what he had me do was alter the actual syllables of the invocation. He was like, do not, under
Ah.
any circumstance, actually say this. Don't say these words.
Mhm.
Change the syllables and kind of distort the pronunciation and just really have a clear intention in your mind that you are not intending anything that you're saying while you're saying it. And I was like, okay.
Thankfully, it's smart. Good
But
job by Ben right there.
you've met me, or we've met in this capacity.
Yeah.
I am a little extra, so I had to go a little extra overboard. So I come to set that day, and I'm like, I'm bringing in bundles of sage, and I'm like, I'm saging the set. Does anyone want me to burn sage around? And they're all like, half of them are like, this crazy little bruja, and then the other half is like, what? Like, yeah, hey, will you sage me? Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Like,
It's probably, it won't hurt. You know what I mean?
oh,
So
like, yeah, I'll take some sage. Like, will you come over here in this corner and sage me? And I was like, because for me, I'm in salt. So, like, I'm in my mind, I'm protected, but my crew isn't. Like, I need to protect my crew. So I told them, I was like, listen, y'all know I'm weird. But like, I'm just gonna say something real quick. If you want to put yourself in a bubble of light before we do the scene, I highly recommend it. So just that's all I'm
no
gonna say.
question.
The invitation has been made. I've also put the whole house in a bubble of light, so don't even worry. And they're like, okay, should we just roll cameras and maybe you need to just focus on the lines in the script? Um, but so we did find humor in what was really a really grueling process, a really
Mhm.
heavy filming process. We had to make, light of any moment that we could so that we could keep our spirits high through this process.
Yeah.
It was a long process, and we were filming in the Arizona desert in the summer. So you're talking well into triple digits as
Oh,
far as heat is concerned. And the nature of this film was really confronting. We had a lot of big kind of full crew and cast conversations where we talked about, hey, if anybody's having a hard time with this, we got people you can talk to. This is real, this is relevant, this is triggering. These
yeah.
not this is not your typical film set because this is what's going on in our world all the time. So we realize it's very confronting, and it kind of bonded us in a really special way. We're a little smaller crew, and we were doing this with so much passion, but we all walked away feeling really connected to each other because it was intense. It was really intense.
Yeah.
We kept reminding ourselves why we were doing it. That if this film even allows us one conversation that allows one person to think, and one little iota of energy creates some inertia towards this not being relevant in our world anymore, then that is what we hope for with this project. So that was the intention, and everything's based on intention anyway. So the
Yeah.
foundation upon which we built this film was that we could have more conversations like this in the world, and that it would stop this politicizing rhetoric, this no guns, more guns, left and right, just unhelpful,
Yeah.
unhelpful way of navigating this conversation. Let's look at the root matter. Let's look at the mental health concerns. Let's ask these deeper questions, and maybe, I don't know, come from a solution-based approach versus
Hmm.
laying blame. Let's just look for a solution and attempt to solve this thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely got the aspect of the mental health aspect, because like you think about if she had someone to lean on or talk to, this character, maybe a lot of this stuff is avoided, you know what I mean? And going through all these and people go through different tragedies in life and bad times. There's no one that's absolved that, but it's so important, like I said, having support, having someone to talk to, not dealing with this burden yourself constantly. And this is what leads people into dark places. And sometimes, unfortunately, with no intention, they become intentional, and I think that was definitely a message I took away. I was thinking like, wow, at any point, if this character had someone kind of really wanting to help and, them to get off that path, things could have changed. And I feel like that really resonates in society. If like stepping up when you see someone struggling and really helping them out. And I know you understand that better than most in that aspect too. So I thought that was a really telling how the domino effect of negativity can take you to really bad places.
Absolutely. I that was one of the biggest reasons that this film meant so much to me and means so much to me, because it's a bigger conversation in all of these issues. Whatever, happy people don't hurt other people, right?
Yeah.
So there's something bigger here at play. And until we address these issues head on, until we have bigger conversations, until we bring in less judgment and more compassion, we have no hope of fixing these things. We have to look at this from a higher standpoint. So thank you so much for letting me talk about this and let me use your platform.
Of course, anytime. I mean, just seeing and talking to you, AnnaLynne, it's always a joy. It really makes my day. I always feel uplifted after talking to you. No joke, for real.
Oh, I feel so happy that we got to do it again, and I can't wait till the next time.
Yeah, I'll be away. Hopefully everything gets figured out sooner or later and everyone can get back to work and, and have more stories to tell. Because if we don't have films and stories, then, we're not getting the full kind of life lesson, and like I learn a lot through film all the time. I try to take messages and things and try to like think about it, how it applies to my own life and experiences. And this one definitely had me thinking, definitely never want to end up in jail for sure. That was scary. From what I saw there, I'm like, whoa.
Haven't you ever wanted or needed something desperately?